Oh yes, this shall do nicely. Very nicely indeed.
Had a really nice topic for the Jimquisition this week. A really nice one, you know? It was about crowdfunding and the ethics thereof. I will get to it, but I was really looking forward to doing it this week. And now I can't, because something happened with microtransactions, something especially egregious, and now I've got to talk about that again. I get no pleasure from this. I said last week, just stop fucking up, game industry. It's not that hard. And yet it keeps happening. I even did a new thing on the Jimquisition.com called the Bullshit Roundup, where I can just sort of catalogue those shitty DLC microtransactions, pre-ordery tactics that aren't good enough for an entire episode of the Jimquisition. I thought that would take some of the load off, some of the work off, but no. Here we are again, and now it's Overkill's fault, which is especially bad because I once praised that company to high hell. This kind of shit gets in my way, you know? I've got pugs to secure, yeah? I've got work to do. Don't you understand? And I have to keep dealing with this shit. Well, enjoy this episode. Because I have other things to accomplish. When Payday 2 first launched, I loved the game and everything about the way it released. So enamoured was I with the game's presentation, I went so far as to dedicate an entire Jimquisition to it back in the day. In the episode Time to Get Paid, I praised Overkill's production for being a success in a world of focus-tested, exorbitantly expensive AAA video games that are considered failures even when selling 6 million copies. Everything I said about its sensible budgeting, focus on gameplay over graphics, and lack of decadent marketing push remains true. However, Overkill's behaviour since then, and its most recent piss take of the loyal audience I so rapturously spoke of 2 years ago, has left me feeling both personally disappointed and quite frankly embarrassed. I stand by everything I said in spirit back then, but I now regret having used Payday 2 as an example. Overkill's descent from potential darling to potential devil began with an onslaught of downloadable content that a significant portion of players found distasteful, to say the least. Looking at the DLC page for the game on Steam, there's definitely a fuck ton of the stuff, to the point where I wouldn't blame anybody new for being utterly alienated by it at first glance. It didn't help that console versions of the game were in a shoddy state indeed, and at one point a designer for the game churlishly said that console players should just get the PC version instead. That didn't go over too well, even with the PC crowd. The console versions were fucked for a long time and are still fucked. The Xbox One alternative is reportedly in a horrific state right now in particular. The game at its core was never a technical masterpiece, which makes the DLC situation especially galling. Despite many bugs and glitches, Overkill appears to have prioritised paid DLC, the creation of new premium content, over fixing the shit folks already bought. So Overkill wasn't endearing itself to its fans to begin with, but its most recent shenanigan has truly tipped the scales. Payday 2's Crime Fest is a regular event that unlocks new free content for use by the fanbase, but the latest Crime Fest has unleashed something a bit more insidious. At the end of matches, players usually get cards with free bonuses on them, be it a new mask, some extra cash, or some other unlock. After the newest Crime Fest update, a brand new item has been added to the post-game reward mix: safes. These safes contain new weapon skins, but they cannot simply be opened. No, you need to buy drills, a new currency that costs $2.48 per use, and they're required to access the random skin inside. Not only do these skins offer a cosmetic upgrade, they also contain stat boosts, thereby giving players an edge in-game that they wouldn't have if they hadn't stumped up the cash. Even worse, due to the sheer volume of DLC out there, there's a good chance that the skin you just paid to unlock is useless. They're not universal, you see. They're tied to distinct weapons, some of which have to be purchased separately. Yep, you can pay microtransactions to get an item that you need to buy downloadable content to use. Right Right now, the game is free to play until Crime Fest ends, and that only hammers home how much of a free-to-play experience Payday 2 is becoming. In 6 days, the game presumably goes back to a $20 price tag, though it's on sale for 75% off right now, making this another case of fee to pay, a game you'll be paying for in order to pay for more. But there's something that makes this whole thing even sleazier, even more egregious than the average fee to pay chicanery. See, by this point, we expect bullshit from the big publishers. We expect them to exploit and go back on their word and nickel and dime us into oblivion. It's not expected of an entity like Overkill, a studio that once prided itself on listening to its users and building the experience they want to play. Even more so, we don't expect a studio that once promised Payday 2 will never have microtransactions to put microtransactions in Payday 2. When the game first launched, Overkill specifically said, and I quote, "Payday 2 will have no microtransactions. Shame on you if you thought otherwise." Now I get it, 2 years is a long time in games, plans and goals change, but to be so adamantly against freemium elements, to the point of saying we should be ashamed of ourselves for imagining them in Payday 2, then sneaking them in later is fucking gross to say the least. And to do the microtransactions so shittily too. Clearly these safes are inspired by the crates of Team Fortress 2 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but at least those games still give you regular loot on top of extra crates and don't give out straight stat upgrades. Here, when you get a safe, it replaces the cards you'd usually get, and there's no doubt that, however incrementally, paying to access the skins gives you a straight up superior advantage. I mean, if you own the weapon. The weapon you may have to buy. Overkill's being tight-lipped at the moment. Maybe they'll realise this was a dumb idea and ditch it. Maybe they'll just give up the pretense and make Payday 2 a free-to-play game, though I foresee the salt from that move outweighing even that generated by Team Fortress 2. Either way, right now I'm disappointed. I'm not even angry at you, Overkill, just very, very disappointed. Shame on you. That's all I have left to say. Shame on you, poor wretched souls, for fucking shame. There are many cardinal sins of video games, and I think I've stumbled on a new one. Something you should never do. Never make me regret loving you. I loved you, Payday 2. Hell, I replayed the game recently for some footage for this episode, and I still love it. It still holds up remarkably well. But I completed a mission, and the very first thing I got, my very first reward for returning to the game after years, was a safe. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to have to do this. I don't enjoy doing this. Yet here we are. Here we are. And now perhaps the Payday community can stop emailing me about this, because they have emailed me a lot. And I tried to do a post on the Jimquisition.com just to try and stem the tide, and they still emailed me. And obviously I was going to cover this. I was going to cover it. I needed time. I only do things once a Monday for this stuff, you know? So just stop emailing me, okay? Please. And I did a video on Indivisible as well, on Indiegogo. You can stop emailing me about that one as well. And while you stop doing that, there's one thing you can all start doing right now. And that's, thank God, for me. Because that's how it works.
Delicious, bountiful pugs. Do you not understand? Oh, do you not see? World Pug Federation. Pugs.